That change jolted him a little. The old rat-trap Jim had held a lot of the boy he used to be. The doorman collared his bag. A youth climbed in to take the car underground. Still running pleasantly backward into the real, he went into the not-much-changed lobby and registered, and was carried up the not-much-changed elevator to the kind of room he remembered, such a room as they used to take when they held fraternity and class dances in this hotel, back in Prohibition times. During at least one of those years he had been on a diet for ulcers and couldn't drink, but he used to retire religiously with the boys, gargle raw Green River red-eye, and spit it out again in the wash-bowl, only for the pleasure of law-breaking and of carrying a distinguished breath back to the ballroom and the girls. With his bag on the rack, his hand still holding the handle, he stood still for a second, remembering his giddy and departed youth. Later, fresh from the shower, he picked up the telephone book and hunted up the Merrill Funeral Parlor, but when he had found it, he was troubled, struck by the address, 363 East South Temple, on the Avenues side, somewhere around D Street, near the cathedral. He tried to visualize that once familiar street, but it was all gone except for a generalized image of tall stone and brick houses with high porches and lawns overtaken by plantain weeds. One, the one Holly had lived in, had a 3-story stone tower. That tower, with all the Jazz-Age bohemians crawling in and out, Havelock Ellis, Freud, Mencken, the memoirs of Fanny Hill, Love's Coming of Age, The Well of Loneliness, Harry Kemp, Frank Harris. My Lord. He was flooded with delighted recollection. They were all there before him, reed-necked aesthetes, provincial cognoscenti, sad, sexy yokels, lovers burning with a hard, gem-like flame, a homosexual or two trying to look blasted and corroded by secret sin, painters of bile-green landscapes, cubist photographers, poets and iconoclasts, resident Dadaists, scorners of the bourgeoisie, makers of cherished prose, dream-tellers, correspondence school psychoanalysts. They swarmed through Holly's apartment and eddied around her queenly shape with noises like breaking china. He remembered her in her gold gown, a Proserpine or a Circe. For an instant she was slim and tall in his mind, and he saw her laughing in the midst of the excitement she created, and how her hair was smooth black and her eyes very dark blue, and how she wore massive gold hoops in her ears. He wrote the number down in his notebook and tucked it into the pocket of the seersucker jacket laid out on the bed. But when he had dressed and gone down and was walking in the blazing heat up South Temple, past the church offices, Beehive House, Lion House, the Eagle Gate, the Elks Club, and the Alta Club, the old and new apartments, he began to look at numbers with a feeling that approached suspense, and he searched not so much for the Merrill Funeral Parlor as for the house with the stone tower. Finally, just past the cathedral, he saw it, lifting across the roof of a mansion gone to seed, and in another 30 paces he could see the sign and the new brass numbers on the riser of the top porch step. It was the very house. Quickly he looked around for something that would restore and brace his memory. The street did not look much changed. Some of the old maples and hickories, he remembered, were gone, and the terrace rolled down with an unfamiliar smooth nap of grass. The porch no longer carried its sagging swing, and porch and steps had been renovated and painted. The door was as he remembered it, with rays of colored glass in its fanlight, and the doorknob's massive handful was an almost startling familiarity. But inside all was changed. Partitions had been gutted out. The stairs now mounted or levitated, a spiral of white spokes and mahogany rail from an expanse of plum-colored carpet. Instead of the cupping old parquetry, his feet found softness, hushedness. The smells were of paint and flowers. He was eyeing the stairs when a young man came out of the office.